there's a lot of people that come up to me, my friends that are female comics, female comedians of any kind, and are like, I really normally don't like women, but I thought you were great. Like, that's a huge thing you get all the time.
Oh my God.
And you get it from women.
Wow.
You get it from women.
Welcome back. You're listening to Hysteria, the podcast for women who are never joking, ever. Our first panelist is a comedian known for the podcast That's Messed Up and the LA-based comedy show Better Half Comedy. Klenk, it's been too long.
Thank you so much for having me back. I'm always excited to be here.
I'm so glad you're here today. I was actually thinking about having this be the cold open for the show, but then I was like, no, I want this to be a topic of discussion for all three of us. I don't know if you guys have been on social media this week, but have you seen that the kind of hotness on TikTok is asking women if they were walking in the woods, would you rather encounter a man or a bear? Like a man you don't know?
I have seen it.
Or a bear.
I've seen it.
So
it's hard.
What's your answer?
I don't know. Kara,
I feel like I'm bear without thinking.
Oh, I'm 100%
I'm bear. I'm like team bear because I feel like I've been trying to memorize the mnemonics that are like what's the mnemonic device? Isn't it like brown, lay down, black,
fight back?
Yeah, like so I've been trying to memorize that.
Oh.
So I feel as though I've been preparing myself for a bear attack. And if I know the classifications of what I'm supposed to do, like a man, really, I don't know. I don't know if I've been working out enough.
Yeah. And also, well, there's a third part to that, Kara, and it's white good night because polar bears natural predators of humans.
Shit.
They will eat you. They are like one of only a couple natural predators of humans. So if like a polar bear comes, if a black bear comes after you, something is wrong. Like you did something wrong.
Right.
You are in the wrong place. That bear is not well. The bear needs help. If a brown bear comes after you, it's same deal. Like it has been assimilated, like it's starving or it's been assimilated to getting food from people. It's been eating out of dumpsters. People have been feeding it, whatever. If a white bear comes at you, that's what it's supposed to do. That's what they are. That's what
this has been like the greatest public service announcement of all time.
Yeah. If you see a polar bear, prepare to be eaten.
See, like the only polar bears I've really ever been remotely close to are at the Central Park Zoo, and they are depressed. Those poor little polar bears are lying down, and they want it to end.
Oh.
But I don't have any plans to go to Antarctica or anything, so I think I'll be okay.
You should be okay, unless there's some sort of like A24 worthy disturbance in like the climate and suddenly all the Arctic animals migrate south and then we all get eaten and it's like a 90-minute bloodbath, which I would watch.
Yeah.
I would 100% watch that. I saw this on the socials this week and there were men that were just completely confused about the fact that so many women picked bear. They're like, this one guy made a TikTok that was like, what are there like random male hikers mauling women? And people are like, yes.
Yeah, actually.
That's how a lot of murders happen, actually. A guy in the woods sees a lady.
It's a foundational element of all true crime.
I feel like, Kara, a lot of the SVU episodes are about someone being apprehended by a man in the woods.
Yeah, there's quite a few. I mean, the show does take place in New York City, so it's also alleys and,
Central
parking lots,
Park.
But yeah, Central Park, huge though. Like, well, I mean, I will never go to Central Park after dark. I'm a never after darker Parker for Central Park. No way. But yeah, that is, I would say I am with Alyssa. That's the foundation of many true crimes and many Law and Order SVU episodes. And, one of my most haunting episodes of SVU is a man just brings women to his own woods and hunts them for sport.
What?
That is
based on a true crime.
Yes. That is terrorism, that episode. I watched it once, and then you see the first couple of minutes, and you're like, nope, seen this before. Nope.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Are there any that have bears in them? Are there any SVU episodes where...
No.
Okay. See?
There hasn't been a bear yet.
There's your answer. No true crime shows start with a cold open where a woman...
My God, you're right. We're breaking news today.
Where a woman is, like, encountering a bear, and then smash cut to... police being like, something with really big teeth got her. I think it's interesting to see how many men are surprised by the fact that women are like bear. And I think it's also very obvious for women why we would choose bear. But joking aside, I want to get into something that I've found happens in a lot of interactions that I have with men who like don't know me. And I think, Kara, as like a professional comedian, you probably have this interaction sometimes. You say something that is clearly a joke. And maybe the joke is told from the perspective of like, what's a dumb thing to say right now? You know, like what's a silly thing, a silly, goofy thing to say right now? And you are responded to as though you are serious. Is this something that happens to you?
In the sense that I married someone who does this to me all the time, yes, I would say this happens a lot. Yes. And am I married to another professional comedian who should know that I'm joking? Yeah, you're right. I know. Happens all the time. I'm trying to think about it if it's if it does happen more coming from women. But I think it does, right? Like, I don't see my husband and his guy friends like misunderstand each other like that as much.
Uh-huh. Do you ever get like corrected on something? Do you say something and you're like, well, you know, this seems pretty easy, and a guy's like, actually, it's really hard. Like,
yeah, and you're like, no, when you're joking, you mean?
Yeah.
And you just, I mean, I don't know. I would say half the time I say, oh, no, I was kidding. And then the other half of the time I'm like, oh, it is? Like, I just kind of play along and maybe see how stupid they are, you know? Let's see how long we can string this out, you know?
Alyssa, does it ever happen to you where you're like, you make what you think is an obvious joke and then somebody starts explaining something to you?
I was affected by this a fair amount at a particular media company I worked at several years ago. There were some of the bro-ier guys at Vice who would be like, and I just, like, I guess that I worked in the White House and we made jokes and people understood and they laughed. And then I got to Vice and I'd make a joke and everyone was so self-serious. They'd be like, well, no, that's actually, Alyssa, that's like not how it works. And I was like, oh my God, I was fucking kidding. My Jesus Christ. But then the problem is though, you're so caught off guard because to you it's so obvious that you're almost like dumbstruck. You're like, I'm paralyzed. I get paralyzed. I'm like, wait a minute, did I not say what I think I just said? Did I just make a bad joke? And then I was like, no, it wasn't a bad joke. It was funny.
It was a bad listener. It reminds me a little bit of that sort of meme joke where people would say to their men in their lives that Taylor Swift put Travis Kelce on the map and film him responding.
So funny. Come on, lighten up.
And like the men would be like, are you kidding me?
Let me give you his stats. Let me tell you what he's been doing. You're like, oh, we get
it. I saw another one where a woman tried to convince her husband that she had paid a guy to put air in her tires. Like she was like, oh, my check tire light came on, so I went to a service station. And he's like, I can come help you. And, you know, it starts out very like husbandly, benign, like, I can come help you. And then she's like, oh no, there's a guy here who's helping me. He's gonna put new air in there. And like her husband is like getting more and more upset by the fact that he's like, my wife is so stupid that someone is selling her air. Like he believes it. And it becomes like this very funny joke. The time that it happened to me where it was the most like, wow. I was an editor at Jezebel, R.I.P., and then it became a zombie of itself and it's back. So, hooray. I was an editor at Jezebel, and it was the movie American Sniper was like in the awards conversation, and we were like, what's our American Sniper angle? We don't really have one. This is whatever. But everyone's talking about American Sniper, so how are we going to talk about American Sniper? Because that's what you do on the internet. And so we ended up putting out a piece that the headline was "The Fake Baby in American Sniper is promoting unrealistic body standards for babies."
Do you know? I remembered that.
And it's like so obviously Like, who would say that? Babies don't. But there were so many men, specifically right-wing men, that were like, are these bitches serious? What a bunch of dummies. And I just was like, wow, people think women aren't funny because they don't think that women could be joking.
Right.
Yeah. But it's also like there's no nuance on the internet at all. You know, like when you read comments and you read people, like the way people argue and stuff, like no one understands it. Everything's so black and white. And I think that's like spilling over into our real life interactions where everyone's just like, wait, what? No, that's not right. Like, you know, everyone's like fact checking you all the time. And you're like, sarcasm, tone, like we're face to face.
But
you should be
also
able to tell
like
that.
making up their own facts.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And sometimes you could, like, I found that if you make a joke online, but also in person, if you make a joke that's like really hyperbolic, people will be like, and then someone is like, what? And you're like, I was joking. They'll be like, she wasn't joking. It's
And
like,
then she tried to act like she
how
was
do you know?
joking.
yeah. I'm the one who made the joke. Like, why do you get to decide whether or not I was joking? No, you were serious. That you really meant that. What? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Did you guys see the Tavi piece at all this week?
I did.
I did. I scrolled through it and I tried to understand some of it. So yeah.
But you understood that she...
Kara, you and I are the same.
Yeah. Tavi is in my mind, permanent child, even though she's like fully, I think like 30 at this point. 30, yeah. She's whatever. But I remember her being like a kid starting Rookie and being like this fashion blogger and doing this really cool stuff with like young girls media at a time when it was sort of being abandoned and ignored. And, you know, she's 28. Sorry. Yeah. Well, we rounded up. We rounded up to 30. She wrote this, like, she put out this zine that was this kind of like satirical Taylor Swift fanzine. And it has like a satire in the title. And people are like, is she serious?
You're like, actually, no.
But like to me, that's also like a little bit of what happens around Taylor is like we can't joke. Like I don't know. I feel like there's not a lot of humor around. Like you have to take like her so seriously because she is God to a lot of people, and so you cannot be
Taylor and
insult people's
Beyonce.
religion.
Taylor and Beyonce cannot be joked about.
Yeah,
that's really interesting. I feel like Swifties sometimes do joke about Taylor, but it's only in like a Swiftie approved way.
Yeah.
Do they joke about Taylor or do they joke about their love for Taylor?
Exactly. I think that's
you know what I mean? Like, we know we're crazy. We're Swifties. Like,
yeah,
we had 500 charm bracelets or whatever it is, friendship bracelets that they made.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the response to Tavi's zine was very like. It just reminded me a lot of the way that like any woman who attempts satire or humor is like received, which is a lot of times by men. They're like, what? I don't get it. What? I don't get it. Or people who just like refuse to think that women could be meaning to joke, even when they're like, I am writing a joke right now.
Right. I am writing something to entertain you that is not factual.
And well, like, and that's a problem for a lot of people. Like, there's a lot of people that come up to me, my friends that are female comics, female comedians of any kind, and are like, you know, I really normally don't like women, but I thought you were great. Like, that's a huge thing you get all the time.
Oh my God.
And you get it from women.
Wow.
You get it from women.
Oh
My podcast co-host was just telling me yesterday she had to shut down this woman who approached her and was like, I actually don't like female comics. I think all they talk about is sex, but I thought you were really great. And she was like, I don't want to talk about this with you. And the girl just kept going, no, but I think you're great. Like, I'm giving you my
She's like, no, I'm telling you,
amazing-
you're the exception to the rule.
Yeah. And
Oh
like
my
my
God.
friend Jackie Cation, who's a comic, when people would say that to her, she had a card ready. She had a business card that had a list of all the most funny female comics and was like, oh, you don't normally find women funny. Here are some references. Like, here are some recommendations. Like, you should go and check these people out because you just haven't seen enough if you just think 50% of the population can't be funny. But that, I think that really is what we're talking about, is like, no one's expecting you to be funny because that's just... For a lot of people, that's just like not the role.
Right.
That's not what you're supposed to be doing.
What's your response when you get someone coming up to you and saying stuff like that?
similar to like Jackie without the business card. I'm always like, oh, you gotta like get out there and see more comedy, babe. You need to go it's like my version of go touch grass. Like you need to go like check out like comedy because there's so many women that are. All my favorite comics are women, pretty much. You know?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Kara, if you get into it like a room and you notice that the room is like mostly women, how do you feel? Like if the audience is mostly women versus mostly men?
Oh, I feel great. Like I usually feel like I'm gonna win them over if it's women, but I guess it depends on like what part of my comedy career, because like now I do a lot of material about like my family, my kids, whatever. And so if like I know that it's going to resonate with that kind of audience. But at the same time, my weekly show that I do in LA is to like a bunch of 25-year-old hipsters. And I'm like, anyone have kids? And like the silence is deafening. So like I do try to feel like I can go for anyone, but I immediately am like, you're on my side with women. I'm like, you get it, right? Like with women. Uh-huh. And unfortunately, there are some out there that just don't. But I just
wonder like what they think. There are so many interactions that happen commonly in life where I want to sit down the person who initiates that interaction and be like, how did you think this was going to go?
Yeah.
Like how?
What was your end game?
What was your yes? Ideally, like why are you saying this to this person? How do you want them to respond to you? And what do you think you both are going to get out of it? Like what as a woman, why would you go up to a woman and be like, would it be like you and I, we're special, we're better than the other ladies? Is that it?
Right.
Yes.
Well, it's like going up to someone who's a redhead and being like, normally I don't find redheads attractive, but you're okay.
Yeah, it's
like,
negging.
What do you say
I mean,
to
I
that?
kind of think it's negging. I really think it's like internalized patriarchal negging, where it's like, look, we know most bitches are crazy, but you and me, we got it. You know, we know what's up. And it's like, what? Like, I don't know. I always am like so taken aback. Men do it too. But it's like, what is the difference fundamentally from just telling me, hey, I thought you did a great job. I thought you were really funny, versus normally your entire sex, not for me, you know?
Yeah.
But,
yeah, that's so strange. It's like, and it's also weird because, you know, I don't really do anything anymore. And I'm not really like, my friends are like not the type of people. It's not college. I'm not forced to be around people who are like, we're not like the other girls, are we? You know, like I'm not, I avoid those people. I don't hang out with them. And so it's always a bit of a surprise to me when I encounter like the kind of remnants of it in the wild, because I think when you and I would have been like college age, I feel like that was the height of like pick me dumb before it had that name. Like, I don't like girls. They're too much drama. All my friends are guys. Like that was a thing. And people didn't.
I'm at the Yankees game with my guys, but I'm wearing a pink hat. You
yes,
know?
exactly. And it's like, there's a part of me that's like, I thought we got over that. You know, it's just like wearing 6 tank tops layered on top of each other with a low slung belt and having the haircut with all the little flippies that come out. Like, I thought we left that behind in like the early 2000s. And it's wild to me that it's still manifesting by women coming up to female comics after comedy shows and being like, we're better than everybody. Right?
God, I'm so glad that I went to college during the booty pan and black puffer jacket era.
I think Kara and I were both like going out tops. The going
out tops were huge. When those started popping up on TikTok, I was like, wow, this is unlocking a major memory for me. Like,
we should like qualify for some sort of discount when trends that you wore in college are coming back and like the new generation is like, we're discovering this. I think we should be entitled to like a discount at Express, even though it's
at Express.
I should absolutely get free lilac glitter eyeshadow from MAC. That was, I kept them in business, and Frau lipstick, you guys. I literally looked like I was going to a disco every night when we went out.